But what we're going to be going over with today, and I had actually planned on doing this prior to all of this hoopla, is some Dave Smith clips. Fair disclosure, like, I love Dave Smith. I love his show. Do I agree with everything? No, he's a comedian. A lot of comedians make me uncomfortable. I'm very, in my own way, very PC, very political correct. But I do believe that you can trace the death of free speech when you start censoring comedians. You know, you have to let comedians be. I think sometimes the point of comedy is to make you uncomfortable. But these aren't from a comedy show. This is from his political show. But there was, I guess, a lot of angst about when Dave Smith said he's taking over the party. I don't think anyone really listened to the show in which he said that, because the title and the comment was meant to be clickbaity, and y'all reacted exactly as he wanted. You played right into it. But let's listen. Let's listen, and let's talk about it. And let me get this right up front, because I am, a bit, I don't even know the way to word it. PC, whatever it might be, I'm very careful about certain ways of phrasing things. Like, I don't like purge culture, I don't like cancel culture, whatever. When I first heard that phrase, I didn't like it either. It's a phrase I would never use. I could tell you a story. In the prior Radical Caucus, before I was involved, they had a website called Take Back the LP, and I hated it. It made me uncomfortable. I said, we need to lose that messaging. So this is a new thing. The old Radical Caucus had the whole Take Back the LP thing, and I just thought it sounded too hostile. But that's me. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just not my taste. And my taste is pink hair. Obviously, my taste isn't everybody's taste. So let's listen to a little bit of what Dave has to say. Ready? Ready. Let's go. Hopefully this works.
I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I'm taking over the Libertarian Party. Did I mention? I think it's come up before.
We're bringing back freedom.
That's right.
That should be our slogan.
Bring freedom back. Make America free again, or something along these lines. But yeah, but in all seriousness, I'm taking over the Libertarian Party. And as I've been kind of alluding to, got some really exciting stuff in the works over the next year. Will all be unveiled. I think you guys are going to get really excited about it. And you're doing it too.
Okay. So that was the intro to it. And yes, I'm doing my hair because, again, this is a get ready with me. When I first heard that, I was like, okay, that's a bit spicy and a bit bold and a bit ballsy, but okay. Let's hear what these plans are to take over the Libertarian Party.
And for all the people who are like, Dave's threatening to take over the party. Like, obviously, I'm not saying I'm going to show up with fucking AR-15s and fucking take the party by force. I'm saying we're going to out-recruit everybody and force our agenda upon the party. And also, I'd say I'm not trying to purge anybody out of the party. But if some people want to self-deport, then I can't hold that against them.
Okay. And, of course, I'm in the little square, and that didn't work. Once he started explaining what he meant, I don't really have a problem with that. Isn't that what we're all trying to do? Trying to recruit people into the party? Is the problem that he wants to recruit people that agree with him? I think if everyone's honest, that's generally what we all do, isn't it? And I saw a funny reference to this on Facebook where somebody said they just got, or they were getting onto the Pragmatist Caucus call, or they were getting off I don't know, something to do with the Pragmatist Caucus strategy call. And they go, are we going to be taking over the party too? And you want to know what I said to them? Yes, you should be taking over the party. If everyone started to take over the party, I want us all to take over the party. And if we all started doing that, then we would grow the party and take over the world and leave everyone alone. So I'm encouraging everyone, please join Dave Smith in taking over the party in your own way. Go ahead. All that means is they're growing the party. Grow the party. I'm glad somebody's finally interested in growing the party instead of these like stupid little fights that we do. I want the Prague Caucus to take over the party if it means growing the party. I want the Radical Caucus to take over the party if it means growing the party. Name the caucus and grow the party. I'm happy if you grow the party. And then once we grow the party, can we stop worrying about that and then take over the world and leave everyone alone? To me, that sounds like a plan. So let's continue. I think there's a few more clips on this and then we'll move on to another subject. And I'm going to probably address comments at the end. I see at least one comment that I want to address, but I want to make sure I've gotten all the clips I want to play first. Okay, and I don't know why it's staying in this little circle here, but we'll live with it, right? It did go on to another subject, so I think that's really all I had queued up about taking over the party. Okay, here we go with Zach. The problem is that he recruits alt-right grifters. I've seen absolutely no proof of that, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. That's fucking utter slanderous bullshit, and I've challenged everyone to prove it. I believe slander is a violation of the non-aggression principle because it's fraud. It's leading people to believe things that aren't true. That's absolute bullshit. And I am tired of libertarians tearing down other libertarians and talking bullshit about them. It's a lie. When the Mises Caucus first formed, I went over there purposely believing and honestly wanting to find a bunch of alt-right assholes. And we're going back a few years. And when I first went over there, I found some. And you want to know what I saw happen? They all got thrown out on their asses. Quickly. And each time a new one shows up, they get thrown out on their asses. Quickly. I went over there looking for it. And I find them cleaning house. I see absolutely no evidence of this kind of item. And I see, one second here, because I don't want to burn my face. Hopefully you all don't want me to burn my face either. One second here. And Matthew here had a comment. Friendly competition could breed success, but trying to tear others down in the process is counterproductive. Absolutely. And that's what my 2021 is not going to have. I'm done with this. When there are some legitimate problematic people with legitimate problems, like real racists, we'll talk about them. But these witch hunts, no. Those aren't going to be a part of my life. And if I have any say in it, they're not going to be part of party culture. But if there's legitimate problem people, deal with them and deal with them swiftly. Which is what I've done with the person who's been trying to harass me over the next few days with false accusations. This is a person who said, because my husband has a different view on immigration, that I should divorce him. And all of these fucking bleeding heart lefties, racists everywhere won't say shit to this guy. You start holding your own accountable and say you shouldn't be sticking your fat nose in other people's marriages and saying absolutely shitty things like that, and I'll take you seriously. And I'm not holding my breath. And when these people who are so concerned with this alleged alt-right entryism, which doesn't fucking exist, start being as concerned with the alt-left entryism, which does fucking exist, I'll take you seriously. Want some proof? And I'm going to do more of this in a follow-up podcast. Did we ever have a white supremacist up on stage at the National Convention running for chair, trying and openly promoting white supremacism? No, but we had a fucking communist who openly called for killing landlords. Yes, we did. There was one white supremacist at the 2018 convention. It was the asshole from Liberty Hangout. And you want to know who he buddied up with? The fucking alt-lefters there. He didn't buddy up with the rank and file libertarians. He was over kissing ass with the alt-lefters because they both wanted to be accepted, despite the fact that they're both fringe lunatics that we shouldn't have any track with. Did we have a white power flag proudly displayed at a delegation table at any convention recently? No, but we had the fucking hammer and sickle. So don't give me that bullshit. And you want to know what? Let them display their communist flag. They got shown for the bullshit it was. Jessica Lee Sentman. I'm not sure. Let me put you up on the screen here. What guy do you mean? If you could qualify, I'll let you know if it's somebody I'm referring to specifically here. I have a habit that a lot of people don't like. I really don't like naming names. I do every once in a while, like I did name the guy who told me I should divorce my husband because he doesn't have the same immigration policy. But in general, I don't name names. It frustrates a lot of people because I don't really think a lot of these things that we do are about specific people. I think they're about issues that are much bigger than the people. And when you make it about the people, it gets really, really personal. And I don't like getting personal. Every once in a while, you have to. With a legitimate bad actor, you have to. But I tend to be vague. But I think you might be asking me who it was that got up on stage at National that was the communist, or you might be asking me who the actual white supremacist was that was at the 2018 convention. Michael Morrison. Let me get this up here. The communist was Matt Kuhnel. Everyone knows that he was openly communist. He openly said rent is theft and it's perfectly legitimate to kill landlords. Now he's since left the LP. That's what happens. Those Liberty Hangout white supremacist assholes were part of the LP. They left. Chris Cantwell, scumbag, was part of the LP and he left. Mr. Communist Matt Kuhnel was part of the LP and he left. The garbage shows themselves out. Zach, talking about the Ancon flab or a literal hammer and sickle. My memory could be mistaken, but I believed it was a hammer and sickle, but it could have been the Ancon flag. I'm not 100% sure, and I'm willing to be corrected on that. I find them both equally abhorrent. So if someone remembers, if they could correct me if I'm wrong, if it wasn't the hammer and sickle and it was the AMCOM flag, I'll gladly correct myself. Either of them I don't care for.